You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
You know, I think we had almost 75 kids turn out, kept 51, and we got all the guys playing. So I think the program's healthy, and we got a chance to get way better at all levels.
The council is now in session.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Last season, Earl Streufert of Richland boys basketball became the winningest coach in Bomber history, eclipsing 405 wins. Streufert was the MCC Coach of the Year as Richland claimed a piece of the league title for the third year in a row, and the squad finished second in the state. With some big losses, Streufert is back on the hardwood as another season is here.
Earl Streufert, Richland High School head basketball coach, and this is my 36th year overall.
So entering your 36th year. Yeah. And first, let's look back. Last year, Richland boys basketball finished second in state. What was the feeling surrounding last year's season? Because according to RPI, you guys did better than you were predicted to do.
Yeah, I think we finally, in the last 6 or 7 games, got to the point where we thought we were going to be all year. We just never played our best until the very end, and that's what you always want. And we kind of came together as a group late and found out what our roles were and got really, really good at them and kind of settled in. And then, you know, we went over to Tahoma and won a big game on the road when we were, the underdog, I guess, in that game. So, guys just got really confident, and, that carried over into the state tournament, the rest of the state tournament, and they just felt like they could beat anybody and ran into a really good Mount Si team and, just didn't have the offense to win that game. But it was a great year overall, and really proud of those guys.
Yeah, it's tale of two different sides because you have to feel good about outkicking your coverage, finishing second
Right.
in state, but at the same time, it's not a state championship to get to that point.
I don't know. It's second, been there twice and got second twice, and can't fault our guys in any way in either one of those opportunities. They were really good, and we got beat by a team that was a little bit better than us. So, disappointing. Yeah, you'd like to hang a banner, but it's not the most important thing.
And now that transfers into this year, it's always next man up in high school. What's going on with the program here as you guys are now sitting 2-0?
Well, we've had some been really fortunate over the years to have a nice mix of senior leadership and younger guys that played a lot, and we've had a few teams. 2019 they were all seniors basically, and same thing, very similar in 2014. We had really good teams that were senior dominated, but last year we had a nice mix of, sophomores and guys and freshmen that actually played, and so makes an easy transition to this year. And Landon Northrop and Lance Hornvet both started a lot of games last year.
Yeah.
Jackson Woodard had a really nice year for us last year, just off the bench and as a freshman, and now he leads his football team into the playoffs and transitioning to basketball and playing great. And Josiah Skako is also a junior, and he's been playing great for us defensively, just been phenomenal so far. And, he played a little bit last year, but mostly JV, but he stepped right in. And, we're just filling roles right now and trying to figure out who can do what. So pretty excited about him.
and you never know what exactly your team's going to look like, because it's tough to lose a Josh Woodard.
Sure.
And then to have somebody like Landon Northrop, who, like you said, had played but was never the guy, but this year, the guy, a school record 54 points.
Yeah, and I'd be hesitant to say that he is just the guy. I think our guys are pretty balanced and good players, and he was special last weekend in 2 games. I mean, obviously sets a scoring record, but defended well and shared the ball, and he did all the things we asked him to do. And I think Lance Hornfett kind of hides in there with 22 in one game, I think, and 18 in the other one, and he's rebounding the ball and he's running the point for us. And yet all these guys mixed in there that are contributors that I think are going to be really, really important down the road. They're going to, Landon's really good, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I think those other guys are special in their own right. We're just going to have to wait and see how it all develops.
We're catching up with Richland boys basketball coach Earl Streufert. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Visit your local Krispy Kreme and see who stole Christmas. Hint, he's green. That's right. Krispy Kreme is featuring the Grinch Christmas collections. Now through December 24th, celebrate the holiday season with 4 fun Grinch Christmas-themed donuts. Download the Krispy Kreme app for even more fun deals and upcoming donuts. And remember to get your fundraising orders in now. It's fun, easy, and profitable. Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail Street in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to. Or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze. JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
We're catching up with Richland boys basketball coach Earl Streufert.
You mentioned before this where you, I guess, were pleasantly surprised to see how they came together this early in the season.
Yeah.
Still plenty to figure out. So we talked about a couple of the players, but let's highlight the roster of Bomber basketball.
Well, I think, we're healthy right now as far as we have 51 or 52 guys playing. We had not the most kids we've ever had turn out, but we had a lot of guys that are excited about having a chance to play. And, I think we had almost 75 kids turn out, kept 51, and we got a lot of guys playing. So I think the program's healthy, and we got a chance to get way better at all levels.
And what about some individual players at the varsity level that people are going to see maybe, like I said, we named a couple, but let's highlight some of those other players.
Well, I think we're so early on in the process of figuring out what our roles are going to be. I mean, obviously Lance and Landon they're going to score it. I think Jackson Woodard's going to start scoring it too. And he's not shooting the ball as well as he can right now, but that's going to come and it's going to get way better. And then Josiah Skako has been defensively just a juggernaut. I mean, he is into people and play, and he's kind of settled into that role. And he doesn't take lots of shots, but he's shooting the ball well right now too. So that gives you 4 guys that are really strong. And then Cy Kiesel-Kalahani comes in and hasn't touched a basketball, I don't think, since last year. And he knows his role, and he's defending well and rebounding, and he facilitates our offense. So, we just have an interesting mix, right? It's different than last year. Last year's team was quite a bit different than this one. And then our bench guys are fighting for time and spots. And, Zach Rose is a phenomenal athlete and settling into his role as a defender and running the court and getting the ball on people. The better he gets at that, the better we are, because he's the fastest guy I've seen on a basketball court, I think, ever, honestly. I mean, he just runs around, his hair's on fire all the time, and he's going to get after you. And he's settling in and playing really good right now. So we just have to keep developing.
And he was fast on the football field as well.
It's exactly the same without pads, so it's good.
And a few players that you mentioned also had their name called quite a bit on the turf for football.
Yeah.
So what does that transition look like? Because they did make it to playoffs, and then it's immediately to switch the gear to the court. So what does that look like for you, where Richland does a great job of making sure their athletes can excel in multiple sports?
Right.
So what does that look like here at Richland?
Well, we've always said the multi-sport guy is what we've built our program on. I mean, obviously you have guys that are basketball first or, whatever, but we always say the best players play. And so when you come in, you earn your stripes. Doesn't matter if you just came off football or whatever, but I think there is, for those football guys, you got 3 guys in your top 6 guys that played a lot of downs in football, right? And
yeah.
You got to be a little more patient with them, and I don't think they're going to be their best until January, to be honest, because just the recovery and they're ready to play basketball, but it's different and it takes time, and so they'll be there. But I think their toughness, and their competitiveness, they're all 3 super competitive. And Braylon Edwards is going to come off the bench for us, and has had a great baseball season last year too. So we represent. The multi-sport kid is really well represented in it. It's what we've hung our hat on for, 25 years. So it's going to pay off for us. It just may not be all right now. Might have to wait a little bit.
And earlier you said that this team looks very different or operates differently, which is to be expected to some level. So what's the biggest difference in your eyes as a coach from the Bombers that people saw last year into this year?
Well, I think a lot of things are very similar, but we've had a big for 12 years. I mean, we've had from Nathan all the way through Riley Sorn and through Luke Westerfield. We've had a true big, and right now we're not like that. We're more of a we don't have a dominant big player, and so just changes our approach a little bit. We play a little bit more on the perimeter, but you still see us play defense the same way. We're going to get after you. We don't care what the score is. We're just going to play super hard and try to win every play. And, and we're pretty fast. We get up and down. If we take care of the basketball and shoot it well, and we defend like we're defending right now, I mean, we're pretty fun to watch because we get out pretty good and guys are sharing it. And, it's, the pace is really good. So I think we're not, tailoring our offense around 1 or 2 guys, right? I think there's a lot of capable players, and so it makes us a lot more difficult to guard than last year, I think.
Richland is known for the quick pace, the multiple possessions, right? The more possessions you have, the more you can score. I feel like that's something that you put onto the teams you coach. How did you develop, I guess, your approach to basketball as you've been doing this now for a number of years?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think just as a player, when we were back, he played all 3 sports, and we played with no 3-point line, and we scored in the high 80s a lot and 90s with no 3-point line, and we liked to run. I mean, those are the guys I grew up with, and we played that way. And sometimes when you're not as skilled, you can't do that. You got to slow things down a little bit, but the game has turned into such a perimeter game with such pace that we really want to get as many possessions as possible and get as many good looks as you can. And the other thing is I played for a coach that was a shooter and that understood the details of the game and how to get open and those things. And I think that's translated to the way that we try to do things too. I mean, I want guys to be free, not crazy, but free, right? You got to know that you can let shots go and be confident in what you're doing. If it's your shot, you should be shooting it, and you just have to know situations. And so it's a fun way to play. And, if you have to guard as hard as we make you guard, it's pretty nice to go down to the other end and be free and loose and just, let them go, right? So you get rewarded for how hard you play, I think.
Controlled chaos.
I wouldn't say so much that, but yeah, we like to go fast, and we always we always preach that, if it's a shot you're going to make, you should let it go. Unless the situation dictates that we shouldn't be taking shots right now, which is something we need to learn. So, you get a lead and you have situations where you could be going to the free throw line or shooting layups instead of threes. That's something that we got to rein in, but that'll come.
And what is your history as a player? Obviously, you're full-blown a coach now, and a grandpa. Yeah. We'll get into that. True. But where did you play at? What is your history as a player?
I played high school basketball and baseball and football in Walla Walla, and then I played baseball at Eastern Washington. And then I came back and I coached in Walla Walla, and I coached varsity baseball as an assistant in basketball for 11 years. And then this job opened up. So the rest is history here, I guess. Just got my foot in the door.
Well, here you are. And in the MCC, it always seems to be a very competitive league. And in basketball, it always comes down to you and Kamayakan, it seems, at least in the past couple years. Yeah. Facing the Braves tomorrow. What do you have to say about the basketball community and just the MCC basketball?
Well, the MCC is, when it was the Big Nine back in the day, I think top to bottom, it was probably more competitive, to be honest with you. It was, you're playing town teams. You went to Wenatchee and it was tough to win at Wenatchee, and same thing at Davis and Eisenhower. And, a lot of those, the travel was a bigger deal. And now, we're pretty lucky. I mean, we make 1 hour road trip to Walla Walla and that's it. But I don't think the league's as competitive as it used to be. And I'm not really sure why that is, but Kamayakan's solid. Chiawana's had some really good teams as well. And Kennewick, Brady does a real good job with his guys there, and they get guys that compete. And I think it's just, there's been some disparity in our league for 10 years, right? I mean, there's been some teams that have kind of thrived at the top and other ones that have struggled. And, a lot of that has to do with, new schools and schools being broken up. You used to have 2 schools in Kennewick. Now you have 3 and 2 in Pasco. And so when you stretch athletes out and they get thinner, it's just harder to win.
Inconveniences can happen at, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
Visit your local Krispy Kreme and see who stole Christmas. Hint, he's green. That's right. Krispy Kreme is featuring the Grinch Christmas collections. Now through December 24th, celebrate the holiday season with 4 fun Grinch Christmas-themed donuts. Download the Krispy Kreme app for even more fun deals and upcoming donuts. And remember to get your fundraising orders in now. It's fun, easy, and profitable. Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail Street in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
We're catching up with Richland boys basketball coach Earl Streufert. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
What other ways has the state of basketball changed in the Tri-Cities? You've been in the Tri-Cities, Walla Walla, for quite a few years. What are some stark changes that you've noticed?
Well, to be honest with you, we've gone to this doubleheader schedule where we play boy-girl back-to-back, and we do it all the time. We used to do that as a kind of an event thing, a fundraiser. We played Chiawana. It was a big deal, right? The gym's packed. And now our JV boys play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in some back gym. They're not playing in front of 2,500 fans right before our game. And that's true at all schools, right? So the boys JV is not playing the prelim game to the boys varsity. And I think that makes it really hard for program, right? We don't all travel together. We don't show up in the gym with 4 teams and we watch each other play. And then they watch the young guys watch the old guys and we all travel together. And so program building is super hard right now. And I think that also diminishes, you have a sophomore football player that's a really good player, starts every game, but he's not quite there in basketball. And so now you're saying, well, you're a JV basketball player and you're going to play in the back gym and nobody's going to come to your game. And where's the thrill? So why does that kid stay out and keep playing? And so it makes it really difficult. So, our job as coaches is program development, right? And giving the kids the best experience they can have. And right now, the way our schedule is, it's super difficult. And, I understand the benefits for the girls programs to have more people at their games. And it's certainly easier on ADs because they get a night off every week, right? They host on Friday, they don't have to host on Saturday. And so, there's a lot of changes that have affected, the level of play in our league. And so I think there's things we can do to fix that, but I think that's part of the problem.
I never really thought of it that way. So what are ways that you overcome that? Because it's hard to develop players for varsity if they're not motivated at the JV level.
Well, and the other problem too is that now schools aren't big enough to host all of the boys and girls games on the same night. So our freshmen will play on Thursday and our sophomores will play on Thursday. And then we'll play on Friday, and then we'll all play on Saturday, all throughout the day at different times. So there's very little connectedness between our kids. And so with the old schedule, I would coach our freshmen on Mondays. I'd run their practice on a Monday. So I worked with them on Monday. So they have the head coach working with them for a full day. And our sophomores were always there on the court next to us. So the expectation and, the intensity and all that stuff is there. And you get a chance to coach your coaches and teach, and it's just so many things that you lose when you don't have those consecutive days of practice. I mean, the old schedule, you would practice 4 days, play Friday, Saturday. You never played a Tuesday game unless you had to. So you had 4 quality practices. Now everything's a pregame or a postgame practice. You play on a Tuesday, Monday's a pregame, play Tuesday, postgame Wednesday, pregame Thursday, play Friday, play Saturday. Where's the teaching? That's why the level of play in our league has gone down. And there's a lot of arguments probably for it, but I'm not a proponent, but I don't make those decisions. So I think it's a problem. We need to get back to the way we used to schedule. It's better for kids, better for fans, better for players, better for program. But that ship may have sailed. I don't know.
And how do you overcome that? Or is it, because we have put out some big players, from the Tri-Cities. You mentioned from Richland, Soren, and then, playing in LA, Bilodeau transferred from Oregon State. So there are some players, but that's partly high school, but partly club as well. So what's, I guess, your view on that?
I think the AAU stuff is great for kids, gives them opportunities to get out there and play against better players and those kind of things. I mean, the size of the Tri-Cities now, there's plenty of basketball players.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have to be special. I mean, to be recruited at the highest level now, I mean, basically colleges buy their players. So, I mean, you have to be super talented to beat out somebody even to get a roster spot somewhere, right? They're not going to take the time to develop you because they're going to go find one. And so to get a Division I basketball player out of our league is a difficult thing, unless they're a special athlete and a special talent, which, Bilodeau obviously was. Riley had size, but, it's interesting. It's a difficult road. So I don't know.
It's a lot of different world these days.
It is. It's just, and so I'm old school. I like the program development stuff. I like all of our guys to do the same things and to learn the same things. And it's difficult to do in the way our system is set up right now. Which
you just are stuck in it. And one thing I love to ask coaches, because, AAU or club sports does play a big role, but at the high school level, what do you do to, I guess, prepare them for the next level in the recruitment? Because high school coaches can make that difference. So what does that look like for you?
Well, we're super honest with our guys about, if they want to play on and play at a higher level, I mean, there's opportunities to do that. But just being realistic, Bruce Robertson's really good about, he has a really good feel and good connections with college coaches. And so if we think a guy has an opportunity, we'll get their name out there and we'll get the film out and we'll talk with those guys. But they've also seen him in AAU too, in the circuit in the summer. So they see him And then all we can do is, do our best job to help them make a good decision for them and put them in the right place so that, they can have an opportunity to play on if they want to. But, we don't have a lot of impact on that necessarily in today's world, right? The AAU circuit probably has more, but there is the way that we play and the things that we teach and, the way that we develop guys. I think if they're good enough, they're going to be prepared when they get there, right? I think we're giving them an opportunity to be prepared, but it's really hard to control that. So you just try to give them the best chance to get to the level they want to get to, and then, coaches make decisions.
Coaches make decisions,
yeah.
And you have coached a lot of people in your time.
I have,
including your own son. So, what does your family history look like at Richland High School?
Well, all of my boys played, and they were all different levels. Nathan was a player of the year in the state for WIBCA, and Garrett was a player of the year in our league, in a really good league that year. And, my other boys competed as well, and, they all contributed to the program. And it's been great raising them in the gym, and it's been a good life. I should have told them to shoot more, but other than that, it's been good.
And now you're a grandpa.
I am. About a month ago. So yeah, super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And so you see your own sons go through the program, and your son is in medical school, and you've seen your not biological sons, but other players go through that. So what brings you back coaching year after year? Because you have to love what you do to do it as long as you've done it.
Yeah, it's, I always said if when I don't like going to the gym, I'll be done. And I still like going to the gym. I still like the teaching part of it. And honestly, our players they're great kids, and they're super fun to be around. And so it's the package deal, right? It's not the winning of games, which is always fun, but it's a lot of it is just watching kids develop and grow up and mature. And, we have some guys on our team this year that have just matured a lot in 6 months. They're different cats. They're more focused. They're better players. They're better students. They're growing up. And that's the joy of coaching, is just seeing kids develop and be ready to move on to the next level, right? Whether they continue playing or not is kind of inconsequential for me.
And let's talk about the MCC now, as you guys obviously had a good season last year, finishing second in state, and new players that we talked about at the beginning of this interview. What do you see in the MCC this year? Who do you have circled on your list?
I think if you want to win the league, you gotta win everyone at home, and you gotta win on the road too. And I think, Kamayakin's going to be solid again. Chiawana's better than they were last year. And then after that, it's hard to say, right? Kennewick's got some good players. It's just going to come down to how you play every night. I don't think it's, there's not a team out there that's dominant. And so you're just going to have to go out and earn it every night, because there's going to be some pretty even matchups, I think.
And a matchup for you guys tomorrow night is Kamayakin. What's the game plan against the Braves?
Pretty simple for us. We just do what we do, and Brian will have some wrinkles, I'm sure, that we'll adjust to, and have to be ready for that. But we're just excited to play in front of our home crowd and get a league game going and see where we're at.
Well, that wrap up this week's show of the Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, the Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. You can listen to the show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Sports Council, and it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. Until next time, I'm Jamie Council. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports programming.